Now on BBC One Scotland and HD, we join Rob McLean for Sports Scene.
Plan today is to score more goals than the opposition.
You never know.
It is 5-star Hearts, and this is going to go into the annals of Edinburgh Derby hammerings.
It's full of disappointment for Hibs, who seem destined never again to capture this trophy.
And Kilmarnock have taken the lead at Hampden and have stunned Celtic and may well have ended their treble hopes. Scottish Communities League Cup, a sensational result.
Gutted for the fans in this football club.
There has to be a loser, and today it's Heffernan. The pain continues for them. You dancer, I think they're saying in the stands. Sensational.
You'd have to believe to achieve in this life.
So the stage is set. Kilmarnock and Hibs will both believe that they can take another step towards Cup success. They're about to go head-to-head at Rugby Park in the last of this weekend's William Hill Scottish Cup quarter-finals. It's live here on the BBC, and at half-time in this match we'll also, if you missed them, show you the goals from yesterday in the Scottish Cup. News from Dens Park as well. With me in the studio, Mixu Patalainen and Pat Nevin. Pat, a Hibs fan, and you're a year at Kilmarnock as well, at a time seemingly when the three-quarter sleeve was in vogue.
Yeah, that was the best fitting strip I ever had. I had a brilliant year there, really enjoyed it, great bunch of lads. The fans were absolutely fantastic as well. And I don't know if I ever enjoyed a year in my career any more than I enjoyed that year. A right good team as well, so really good memories for me.
And Mixer, you're perfectly balanced because you've managed both today's teams. You played for Hibs as well, scored a barrow load of goals. Just disappointed we don't see a somersault on the end of this one. One of your other legacies, of course, is you gave Scottish football Kenny Shiels.
Yeah, well, Kenny's done really well in Scotland, obviously.
We like him.
Yeah, well, assisting me first, and then when he got in there, you know, he's had one or two things with the media, and I think it's refreshing. But you know, in sporting terms, he's done really well. He won the League Cup last season. This season, obviously, the top six is still well possible, as it is for many other clubs. But you know, all in all, Kenny has done fantastically well, and the way they play football as well, they always try and pass the ball. Maybe not in the last couple of weeks; they haven't passed the ball as well as he would like. But you know, I think he's done really well.
They do blow hot and cold, don't they, Kilmarnock? They can be really good. And obviously, as you say, in the League Cup last season, they've shown they can go all the way. Yeah,
I think going forward, Kilmarnock are always dangerous. You know, they create chances. They got strike force, offensive players who can create and score goals. Defensively, there's been question marks. In cup football, that works because you know, you set your stall out to win the match and go and attack and win the match. So you know, looking forward to today's game.
Hibs fans will feel, Pat, they have a cup final to get out of their system.
Yeah, for quite a few years that might be playing in a few minds, there's no doubt about that. But I suppose the positive you can take out of that, it wasn't a good season for Hibs last season, but they got to a cup final. And there's a few players there, still a few players there, though I don't know if you want that many from that cup final because they didn't perform and they didn't turn up. But they know how to do it, they believe that they can actually get there, but they have to play at their best today because I think, as everyone knows, there's nothing between these two teams at the moment.
Let's focus now fully on the fourth then of the quarter-finals, and without any further ado, let's get the teams. Craig Patterson played for both of them in his time, and he is alongside Liam McLeod. Liam.
Hi Rob, yeah, good afternoon everyone. Such a difficult fixture to predict this one. Kilmarnock against Hibernian. They of course played in the league in midweek, 2-2 that one finished. It looked as though Kilmarnock were going to be sailing through for a 1-0 victory at Easter Road. They were pretty comfortable going into the closing stages. Hibs equalising at 1-1, then straight up the other end of the park Kilmarnock went to go 2-1 up. Lee Griffiths popping up with a late leveller for Hibs to rescue a point in that game. As for the teams today, well, Kilmarnock, same as that played at Easter Road. Just 4 survivors from the team that won the League Cup last season, Craig. Bell, Fowler, Sissoko and Heffernan. Chris Boyd He's still on the bench.
Yeah, but I think Kenny Shields was happy with the way they played during the week, so he's gone same again. And you look at that team, they have a real goal threat. All 6 from midfield to front have scored in the SPL this season, and if that's not enough, if called upon, Chris Boyd and Killie and Sheridan on the bench. I mean, it's a wealth of riches for Kenny Shields.
No Paul Kearney today for Hibs, and I know it's very simplistic to say it, Craig, but without Lee Griffiths' goals in games that he has proved crucial in, they could be sitting down just 3 points off Dundee at the bottom of the table. He is that important to them.
Well, the word talisman comes to mind. He has been sensational all season, and it's always been down to Lee Griffiths. I think the introduction of David Witherspoon today is a positive move. Of that 5 in midfield, he's the only person who scored a league goal this season. Pat Fenlon needs that area to be more productive here this afternoon.
It'll take a brave man to predict how this one's going to go this afternoon. They're regular foes on league business, of course, between these two teams. Plenty games, they know each other inside out, but it's just the second time they've played each other in the Scottish Cup here in Ayrshire.
Is central defence for Kilmarnock Mixo a potential area of concern? Tesselaar is not used to playing there. The likes of Pascali and Nelson, O'Leary, all unavailable for various reasons.
Yeah, obviously, it is a very important area of the Kilmarnock's side because of the danger of Griffiths. But you know, for this match, I think Kilmarnock need more pace, more legs than powerful, big, robust centre halves. So Sissoko and Tesselaar are both mobile. They are quick. How well they anticipate the balls over the top for Griffiths, you know, remains to be seen. But all in all, Kilmarnock at this moment of time are short in centre half department. Obviously O'Leary, Nelson, they're not available anymore, and I can't really see anybody else in the team that can play as a centre half. Of course, if that situation arises, they need a centre half, then maybe Gary Hay, maybe one of the fullbacks can fit in there, or Fowler. But you know, it is a little bit short in that department.
We'll find out shortly, Pat, from Pat Fenlon, why Paul Kearney isn't playing. Are you surprised about that if he's fit?
Well, maybe surprised that he's not even on the bench, you know, but you know, he looks at each player, and I mean, sometimes he's left Witherspoon out this year. Now, Craig Patterson, for me, I agree with him completely. I've got a lot of time for Witherspoon, but he has been hot and cold a lot of time this season. But he's someone who actually can create as well. I think he's at 1 goal this season, but done on the other side. And although everyone talks about Griffiths, and you and I have chatted about this before, he does get isolated hugely in a lot of the games, particularly away from home for Heffernan. But oddly, unlike many other centre forwards, he quite likes that. Because, you know, it's up to him. He can do what he likes. He's 1-1 or 1-2. He'll just have a go. And he's been very successful when that's happened this season. But I tell you what, today I think Duncan Witherspoon needs to give him a bit of help.
There's lots of evidence to suggest that today's game is going to be tight. Production number 1 is the league table, which shows there's just a point between the two of them in mid-table. And that was borne out with their meeting in midweek in the SPL at Easter Road, when Sammy Clingan scored his first goal for Kilmarnock, which was an absolute cracker. And it finished 2-2, and there were 3 goals in the last 5 minutes, and Mixie, you were happy you didn't leave before full time.
Yes, absolutely. You know, sometimes you try and miss the traffic and you leave early, but you would have missed all these goals, and fantastic, great goals they were. Like this one here. You know, good link-up play there, and tremendous finish from the youngster.
Yeah, that's Jude Winchester, isn't it? He starts today. Yeah,
and by all means, on Wednesday, he grew in confidence as the game got on, and you know, started a little bit shaky, but you know, great goal he scored, and there's Griffiths doing what he does best.
One of the key players today could well be Paul Heffernan, who's had an injury-disrupted season this time around, but has a fantastic strike rate. And obviously, you were making moves towards signing him when you left Kilmarnock.
Yeah, he's a footballer with a capital F. His link-up play is fantastic when the ball is played to his feet. He can turn with the ball and make passes behind the opponent's defence. He can also run behind. And score goals, and so noticeable whenever he gets a chance, he never blasts. He always looks to replace the ball in the corner, and he's got that composure that all the good goal scorers have. Paul Heffernan is a great goal scorer, very important for Kilmarnock, and you know, he's almost like Lee Griffiths for Hibs.
It's a tribute to Jude Winchester, isn't it, that he's going to play off Heffernan, it seems, William Gros out wide, and Killie and Sheridan, who might have started, on the bench.
Yeah, well, William Gros, in the first place, I think he's more out-and-out striker and not a wide player. So I would like him to come in more and lend a hand to Heffernan up front against the centre-halves. On Wednesday, in the league match, he tended to be a little bit too much on wide area and just on rails there. Winchester, like I said earlier already, he grew in confidence and got more forward as the game got by. I would like to see him more in that final third and using that great finish that he showed, the goal he scored on Wednesday. So he's a very mobile player, Winchester, which is always difficult for the opponents to mark him and pick him up. And there are dangers in Kilmarnock's side and supporting hands to Heffernan, who can play roles, go behind or come short and link others in the goal scoring opportunities. So the balance looked quite good up front.
So Sheridan is on the bench for Kilmarnock. Owen Doyle is on the bench for Hibs. The preference at the moment for Pat Fenlon seems to be playing Lee Griffiths up on his own. Yeah, because when he didn't against St Johnstone recently, I was at the game, Doyle went up front with Griffiths. Now, you'd think it sounds good that they should play together because they're both intelligent players, but against St Johnstone, it looked terrible. And the reason being, freeze it here, both of them actually going for the same ball. Now, got to get close as strikers, but they never switched over, and they became very, very easy to mark. And it led to the 3-0 defeat. Once again, the Hibs played a lot of balls early up, and they were so easy to mark. There was no switch over. If you're actually just going to go one slightly short and one a little bit longer, it's too easy to mark. But what Griffiths likes is when there's an opportunity, he's on his own, I'll just do my own thing. Now look at that, he's totally and utterly isolated. He doesn't care. He actually prefers that. So it's an odd thing to say that it's almost a more positive way for Hibs to play at the moment, as we're 1 up front and 5 in midfield. And it's strange.
Griffiths is so mobile. That goal we just saw there was almost a carbon copy of this goal.
They're great at breaking, and Griffiths has got great pace, but he takes it from his own half here. But again, he's pretty isolated. There's somebody going in the near side there, but he loves being isolated.
Because there's room. And when we look at the Hibs midfield today, in today's game also, the inside midfielders are quite defensive. So there will be times when Hibs' 3 inside midfielders are pretty deep, and that creates space for Griffiths to run and operate and make himself available, then turn and run at defences and use his lethal left back. So, you're right. I think you're right in that. But as a striker, I would like to see a strong number 10 position player for Hibs who receives the balls half-turned, from the defenders or from the sitting midfielders.
I can tell you, Max, Hibs would do it if they could afford it.
Let's hear from the 2 managers there with Jonathan Sutherland.
Well, Kenny, you go with the same team that played Hibernian in midweek, which means that Chris Boyd is once again on the bench. Were you tempted to start Boyd today?
I think he needs to be ready. Every selection that you make must be in the best interests of the team. At this moment in time, if we bring him on, it will be because it accommodates the needs of the team. If we don't bring him on, it's because everything's not too bad, so to speak. But you can't just single out a player and, I know he's big news, but we've got to overlook that and look at the team first and put out what team we think's best equipped to progress. And we feel that it's the team that we're starting with.
And it was 2-2 in midweek, Kenny, but you've been kind of playing the card that Killie are the underdogs today, despite the fact that you're at home.
I don't think you can play a card like that. You have to be, you have to be up front and evaluate the both sides and the quality that they have. And, I don't want to sell our players short, but they know that we've a tough game, and Hibs are, they were beating the final last year, so they've been through the course very recently, so they've got a bit of an advantage on us in that.
Kenny, best of luck today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Well, Pat, just the one change from the Hibs team in midweek. Paul Kearney out, David Wotherspoon in. What's the situation there with Kearney?
No, we just changed it today. We just left him out. We thought he looked a little bit fatigued on Wednesday, to be honest. So obviously Dee's a bit fresher, so hopefully he gives us something different.
How much is the club being driven on by what happened in the cup final last season, and then of course this 110-year wait for the Scottish Cup trophy?
That's not being driven by any of that, to be honest. It's about winning a football match. You know, it's can't do anything in the past. You've got to try to look at the future, and today is a big game for us, an opportunity to get into the semi-final of the cup for both sides. So massive game, but we're looking forward to it.
I think a lot of people are expecting a tight game today, Pat. Obviously 2-2 in midweek. How much bearing does that match have on what happens today?
Well, I think the finish to the game during the week was fantastic. It's great goals and plenty of entertainment. So hopefully it's as good again today. You know, obviously for the supporters, and we've got big support through us. But I don't think it has a massive burden in it, to be honest. It's a cup tie, and both sides would be desperate to get through.
Best of luck today, Pat.
Cheers, thank you.
Chris Boyd is on the bench for Kilmarnock, but he could have a big influence between now and the end of the season. And I guess he probably has an influence on the players who are starting as well, because they're looking over their shoulder thinking he could be coming on.
And there's no doubt some point he will come and probably score goals, as he does for any club that he plays for. You know, I would, from Kilmarnock's point of view, it is fantastic to get fit Boyd onto the side and have Heffernan play that number 10 position, feeding Boyd the goal scoring opportunities and scoring obviously himself as well. So you know, what a partnership. And then you also have Sheridan, who's a runner on the sideline, who can come in and totally different type of striker who runs behind the defence and is all running. So plenty strike force there to choose from.
OK, more chat from these two at half-time. Let's get to the action. Teams in the tunnel, rearing to go. Kilmarnock against Hibs. Your commentary team, you've seen them already. Let's hear from them again. Craig Patterson and Liam McLeod.
Thank you, Rob. Kilmarnock were formed in 1869, with Hibernian arriving on the scene 6 years later. But this is just the 7th time the clubs have gone head-to-head in the Scottish Cup. But they did meet in last season's 5th round, with Hibs having to face a 3rd team in this competition for the 2nd season on the bounce, with Aberdeen beaten in the last round, and most notably their final conquerors from last term, Hearts, in round 4. Goals are expected. It has been 42 games and almost 12 years since Killie and Hibs ended a match at 0-0. Well, Chris Boyd remains on the bench in a team that is the same as the one that started against Hibs in midweek in the league. Paul Heffernan will lead the line, supported by young Jude Winchester, who scored Killie's 2nd in the capital. Scott Robertson in the Hibs engine room won the Scottish Cup with Dundee United in 2010. No Paul Kearney. Lee Griffiths has scored 3 against Kilmarnock this season, among his 19 for the campaign. As I mentioned, Boyd on the bench. He has scored in his last 7 Kilmarnock appearances before he moved to Rangers. Gary Deegan on the Hibs bench got the winner against the Dons in round 5. Well, he had an injury-ravaged start to the campaign, but he really has hit the ground running. Paul Heffernan there, the Kilmarnock striker. 11 goals this season so far, up against Griffiths, who has 19. Referee, there he is, 31-year-old John Beaton. It's less than a year since he took charge of a top-flight fixture for the first time. Neither team's won a game he's been in charge of this season. It promises to be a very, very intriguing quarter-final. Who will join Celtic, Falkirk and Dundee United in the draw for the semi-finals of the William Hill Scottish Cup? The 3 times winners Kilmarnock, or the twice winners Hibernian. 16 years since Killie won it. Craig Patterson with me. 111 years since Hibs last got their hands on it, which is extremely well documented.
Yeah, well, it's the Hibs fans are fed up of hearing it. They keep thinking this might just be their year, and who knows, you're in the quarter-finals, anything can happen, but first things first, you've got to get through a very difficult tie here at Rugby Park this afternoon.
Early challenge by Claros on Dayton. Likes a tackle, does Jorge Claros. It's Robertson touching it to Wotherspoon, who got the winner against Hearts in the Edinburgh Derby 4th round. The redemption road that Hibernian are on after what happened at Hampden Park last May. Gros. Challenge came from Matt Dunn, one from Barnsley. Sissoko. Barbour. It really is all changed for Kilmarnock. In January transfer window, most notably Michael Nelson and Liam Kelly leaving the club. As I mentioned earlier in the programme, Craig, just 4 survivors in the starting lineup from the team that beat Celtic in the League Cup final last season.
Yeah, it's incredible the turnover nowadays, because when players' contracts leave, if there's anything on offer elsewhere, you can just walk out the door. It makes it so difficult for managers.
First real chance to attack for Kilmarnock, and Gross's attempted run forward was blocked by Claros. Lewis Stevenson backtracking. Fowler. Tyrone Tesselaar, he's playing in at centre half, normally at left back. Rory McKeown is at left back today for Kilmarnock, so Tesselaar in beside Sissoko. Kilmarnock do have Ryan O'Leary still amongst their ranks, but he hasn't been selected since he turned down a contract. As I mentioned, Michael Nelson off to Bradford City. Clingan. Clingan, the Northern Irishman, was the direct replacement for Liam Kelly, took his squad number 8 as well. Important player for Kilmarnock as Sissoko tries to knock it out to this near side for Ross Barbour.
I think it's a feature early in the game how quickly both Barbour and McKeown get forward. When they have good solid possession, Gros tucks in, Dayton tucks in, and the 2 fullbacks give you the width. They're going to bomb on all day long.
It's for Dunn. Touch for Griffiths. Well, he never ever admits it, but he will have a burning desire, Pat Fenlon, because of what happened last season in the Scottish Cup final. Kenny Shiels has already won silverware. Dayton has lost his boot. He's got the free kick, I think, out of that.
Just slightly late with the whistle. I think a lot of people were looking and thinking Hibs were away on the break, though Lee Griffiths had run offside, but the referee decided free kick, and I'm slightly surprised Sissoko staying at the back there. I just figure with a set piece like this, you want to get your big lads in the box, see if you can win the header. Yep, he's going forward now. Exactly the right thing to do. Get all the decent headers of the ball in the box, try and win the first ball, and then look to pick up the scraps.
Sissoko's up for this. Tallest figure in the Kilmarnock team, and it's Dayton. Oh, he fizzed that one in, it beat McGivern. A second bite at it, Alan Mabry was in behind Ryan McGivern. Winchester. It's McKeown, as Craig was saying, the left back well up the park.
I think Hibs want to be giving away too many free kicks in this area. You know, they're not the biggest team in the league, Hibs, and with a quality ball in here that Kilmarnock will expect to cause real problems. Got to stand up and just see people away from the goal.
Kilmarnock attacking the goal, the Hibernian fans are housed in. Lots of them through from the capital as the free kick comes in towards Sissoko. It's bobbling about awkwardly. McPake eventually deals with it. Hibs heave a sigh of relief. Kilmarnock have started the brighter.
Well, they're certainly winning the battles in midfield. They're playing the game in the Hibs half, and the first team to calm down and get playing the ball is often the team that nicked the first goal. Hibs have got to be careful.
That was lovely from Barbour. He tried to find Heffernan. Ben Williams, the Hibs goalkeeper, saved a penalty from Scott Vernon in the last round late on, as Aberdeen desperately sought a replay from that tie. Williams saving from the Aberdeen striker as Hibs marched on. Ball over the top. Heffernan was the chaser.
A good play from James McPake, just gets his body ahead here. The arm across, referee doesn't see that. Get your body in front. Always going to be a free kick after that.
A cracking match between the two in the league in midweek. Kilmarnock 1-0 up. Going into the closing stages, they thought they had the 3 points before Hibs equalised. Not once but twice after Winchester put Killie 2-1 up again. This all happening in the last 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, we're hoping this afternoon would start the way the midweek game ended, but it was always unlikely. Ben Williams' kicking has not been great the first 7 minutes. He keeps kicking down the middle to where Lee Griffiths is not going to win any high balls. He's got to knock it wide. Look for Dunn, look for Wotherspoon.
It's Wotherspoon now by the corner flag. Goal kick only though. Four goals in his last 4 games, Lee Griffiths. He had a quieter spell earlier on in the season. Started so well, and then in recent times he's sparked back into life. Fowler. Claros to Griffiths. Taiwo. And Wotherspoon. McKeown and Dayton for company. Robertson. And he's found that done. Stevenson there, so too is Taiwo. Stevenson. Taiwo getting it from Robertson. David Wotherspoon. Best little spell in the game so far for Hibernian. Robertson to Stevenson, who memorably was man of the match for Hibs when they beat Kilmarnock in the League Cup final in 2007. 5-1 it was. Wotherspoon. Well, Sissoko threw out a leg there. The flag was up in any case against Lee Griffiths, but Sissoko was fortunate.
Well, Lee Griffiths plays right on the line. You know, he'll gamble, he'll often be caught offside, but you know, if he gets through, there's not a better finisher in Scotland.
Griffiths. Well, he can hit it from pretty much anywhere, and he can score from pretty much anywhere as well. It's always ambitious, but when you're capable.
He's certainly not shy. The minute he gets turned, the minute he gets a look at goal, he has one thing in mind. Pull the trigger, see if you can work the goalkeeper.
Well, this was flagged as offside. Griffiths just on by the look of that. Sissoko had allowed Griffiths to get goal side of him. An Owen Doyle goal that separated the two in the Scottish Cup last season. It was in the round before. That one at Easter Road. Well, the foul was by Barbour and Dunn, so it's a Hibernian free kick and a decent area as well.
Well, first chance for the two centre-backs who've scored in recent weeks. Ryan McGovern, who's playing in there today, and James McPake. That Dunn does well, gets his body across, draws the free kick, and as I say, some big targets in there for Hibs.
Indeed there are, and more so than McGovern and McPake. McGovern scored against Kilmarnock in midweek. And he will be one of the people that Lee Griffiths is going to try and pick out with this. And it comes. Bell stays to his line. That wasn't too far away. It's come off a Kilmarnock head last. Hibs corner, their first of the afternoon.
It's a terrific ball as ever from Lee Griffiths, right down that alley, nightmare for defenders. And I think Sissoko it is that does well, gets his head on the ball, deflects it behind for the corner, but terrific delivery as usual from Lee Griffiths.
Hibs corner. In from Griffiths again. Made by Gros. Maybury keeps it alive. Griffiths against Dayton. Down to the byline goes the striker. Quite at the end product that time. The pressure's still on. It's a Hibs throw. Griffiths. Claros. Wotherspoon. Claros digs it out to Griffiths. Hibs have Kilmarnock pinned back for the first time in the tie. Not anymore.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a sore one for Scott Robertson. I thought it was smacked right off his face, the last clearance there. But having dominated the early part of the game, Kilmarnock, now Hibs going through a good period. The game now flowing towards Cammy Bell's goal.
McKeown. It's Dayton trying to shrug off Alan Maybury. It's going to be a Hibs ball though. Alan Maybury, 34 now. Seems to have been around forever. Former Hearts player. 134 appearances he made for the Tynecastle club. And talking of Hearts, there's their interim manager. Gary Locke started with a defeat yesterday at home to Motherwell. Edinburgh Derby coming up, of course. Gary Locke taking in Hibs with a view to that one next weekend. Hope it's better than the last one. 0-0 game at Tynecastle, that was. All about the Scottish Cup here, though. Jeron Tesselaar. Dayton. Gros bullied by Winchester. It's going to be a Hibs free kick.
Very little space in the middle of the park. You know, you're going to be closed down quickly. You've got to get the ball early, you've got to move it early, or you run the risk of being dispossessed.
Winchester scored a fine goal for Easter Road in the league game. Carried 2-1 up. Claros with the searcher, won by McPake. Winchester. Long from Clingan. There's Wotherspoon. Might have been a bit fortuitous, but Lee Griffiths is in on goal. Seldom misses, and doesn't miss this one either. Goal number 20 of the season, and Hibs lead this Scottish Cup quarter-final.
Well, it's a goal out of absolutely nothing. The clearance from Tesselaar, headed back, and who's there? Griffiths, right on that line again. And when he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper, you know he's going to hit the target, and as often as not, it's going to end up in the back of the net. Absolutely brilliant finish, and Hibs and Pat Fenlon delighted. Desperate to come here and get the first goal. You see Griffiths, he's got the pace, then he's got the composure. Hibs are one ahead.
Where would they be without him? Lee Griffiths, his nickname Sparky, he has sparked Hibs again. With his first Scottish Cup goal of the season, his fourth against Killie. The talisman with the number 9 on loan from Wolves. He's having a wonderful season. His 20th.
I think the disappointment for Kilmarnock and Kenny Shields as they didn't make Hibs work hard enough to score the goal. It's a poor clearance, good header forward from David Witherspoon, but you cannot afford to give that man there half a chance.
Well, Taiwo taking advantage of slack midfield play from Kilmarnock. Hibs looking for a second. Matt Dunn flags up. Lee Griffiths looks as though he's going to have a big future in the Scotland national team with his senior international debut in a friendly against Luxembourg last November. Heffernan's gone down under the challenge of McKeown, so Kilmarnock free kick, and they have players capable of hitting it from there.
Yeah, this is certainly a chance because it's close enough to be looking to work the goalkeeper, and yellow card for maybe a complaint made by one of the Hibs players.
Indeed, it's Jorge Claros who got involved afterwards.
Absolutely crazy. Why on earth are you getting involved? The free kick's been given. Just get yourself back in the defensive wall and take one for the team, but here's a chance for Kilmarnock.
A chance for immediate retaliation then for Kilmarnock, winning their change strip at home today as they attack the goal where we think between 2,500 and 3,000 Hibernian fans are housed in that Chadwick stand. Ben Williams organising his wall. James Dayton is over it. Couple over it, in fact. The initial effort blocked there by the wall from Clingan, and he's going to come back to the edge of the penalty area, away from Claros. A bit of an anti-climax from Clingan. Barbour. Corner kick.
Yeah, that's a good reply from Kilmarnock. You deal with losing the goal, you get yourself on the front foot, and they've now got Hibs under a bit of pressure.
There's the confirmation of the Jorge Claros booking from a moment or two ago. Hibs have to face this James Dayton in-swinger. What a great delivery. Claros gets it clear. Still alive for Kilmarnock though. Going to drop back here, right in the 6-yard area for Sissoko. The initial effort came from McKeown. Kilmarnock suddenly with a bit between the teeth. Dayton goes to the line. He kept it in. Claros was there to get it clear. It's only half away. Now the pressure is off. It's not gone down well with the natives here in Ayrshire.
Kept good pressure on there, Kilmarnock, refused to let Hibs out. Kept getting the ball in the box, but it just wouldn't fall for them. You know, good efforts here, but when this ball bobbles, it can fall to absolutely anybody. I think that's James McPake with a great challenge to clear.
He's on the look to plan B now, Kenny Shields. Jimmy Nicholl in the background as well. He's enjoying an extended run on the touchline. It's Kenny Shields. He's been in the stand for a good few weeks early in the campaign. Well, Witherspoon looking to snap this one up, and McKeown getting himself between the ball and man. It's gone Hibs' way. Mabry. Robertson. Well, it's the Hibs fans making the noise. Alan Mabry. Stevenson. Dunn. Cammy Bells all the way. Gros. Winchester. Kilmarnock certainly appeared to settle the quicker of the two teams, but once Hibs had got themselves into it and got the goal, it's been comfortable for them.
Sometimes find now with Kilmarnock a goal behind, players are just trying to rush things a little. They're trying to look for the killer ball instead of thinking there's a long way to go. Just keep a composure and make things happen.
McKeown goes route one again. Griffiths the chaser. Good first take from Griffiths. Didn't look favourite, but he's onto it. Hibs trying to take advantage of that. Sissoko. Kilmarnock don't look comfortable with the long ball. The goal came from a Kilmarnock clearance. Wotherspoon headed it back into the path of Griffiths, who's in behind. Tesselaar, who I mentioned, playing at centre-half, the Dutchman, normally a full-back. I'd only ever seen him play at full-back when he was at St Mirren last season and at this season. He's moving into centre-half today. The Winchester Hibs are trying to exploit that. They would have come up against it in midweek.
Yeah, well, I mean, John Tesselaar, it was a miss-hit clearance, too low, trying to clear his lines, and it came back quickly, and he couldn't match the pace of Lee Griffiths, but other than that, he's done well.
Dayton. It's been a very tidy route to the quarter-finals for Heffernan. All 1-0 victories. Chris Boyd might be needed later. From Tayo offside was Griffiths. We saw Boyd there, also in the Kilmarnock bench this afternoon. Killie and Sheridan, so there's plenty firepower. Kenny Shields doesn't get any from those out in the park just now. Barbour and Gros.
Well, the Kilmarnock manager may have few options at the back, but at the other end of the park he has umpteen, and I'm sure if things don't change, we'll see both Sheridan and Boyd at some point.
Stevenson. I think it's just 3 times in the league this season that Kilmarnock have failed to score a goal in. Scott Robertson, who seems to be settling in fine at Easter Road. An unhappy spell at Blackpool. Sissoko and Winchester. Fowler couldn't guide that into the path of Heffernan. Griffiths hung in the air, but he was fouling Sissoko as he was doing it.
Well, he knows he's going to win little, Lee Griffiths, so the idea, you get up early, you get your body underneath the centre back, and you're hoping they both miss it, but yeah, I think that's a knee in the midriff, a sore one for Sissoko, but on the blind side of the referee, so I don't think he's going to be looking for yellow cards.
He's the difference between the teams. And here is that goal. So often, Hibs' talisman has come to the fore, and he has done again today. That's Gros! Brilliant effort! Dayton! It's 1-1! It's James Dayton who slams it past Ben Williams! He'd made the save from Gros, but James Dayton thumps home his second of the season. and Kilmarnock are back off the canvas.
What a reply from the home side, and take a bow, William Gros, because this is a fabulous effort. Brings out a great save from Ben Williams, but what a hit that is. And the man who's on his toes, James Dayton, to blast the ball into the back of the net, and it's all level.
Well, James Dayton gleefully mopping this one up. It was a stinger of a shot from William Gros. And Dayton, who's having a fine time of it in the Kilmarnock starting lineup just now, blasts it past Ben Williams. And it's game on at Rugby Park. Robertson tried to knock it out to Dunn. It sets things up very nicely from the neutral point of view in this quarter-final, the last quarter-final. The other three were decided outright without a replay. Rory McKeown. And suddenly the tables have turned.
It's certainly been a game of ebb and flow. Killie started well. Hibs get the goal and take control. Now it's the home side pushing forward once again.
Gros and others wait for the Dayton corner, which has beaten everyone. Gros back on it. By McGivern. Fowler. Two players down. I think Hibs are going to get the advantage here. Good challenge from Tesselaar. Rather Barbour. He popped up in Tesselaar's position. And this happened just before.
Both players with their eye on the ball, and I don't know if that's hip to hip, but I think it's Tom Taiwo who's come off worst.
Tom Taiwo's okay. Still on as McGivern looks for Griffiths. Hauls it down out of the sky, no problem at all. Wotherspoon. And still Wotherspoon. So the one area there was nobody in yellow. Robertson picking up the scraps. Stevenson. Taiwo. Oh, look, good run there by Wotherspoon. He would have been offside. Kilmarnock got it away. Almost half an hour in. Craig, what have you made of it?
I've really enjoyed the game. You know, as I say, Kilmarnock were bossing, Hibs were bossing, Killie looked back in control, but it's anybody's game and it keeps flowing from end to end. Nobody out there has decided, right, let's just have 5 minutes, settle things down. They're just keeping up the pace.
Griffiths gave Hibs the lead on 15 minutes, cancelled out on 27 by that man, James Dayton. Really touch from Gros, he gets away with it. Ball for McKeown, who's bounded all the way down onto the left wing. Fantastic ball in as well. Fresh air from McPake. McGivern met Heffernan just at the near post. Dayton. Jude Winchester.
Really poor ball in there, but the earlier ball in from Dayton, well defended at the front post by Ryan McGivern, because this is the poor one, you know, really overhit, but the one before that really worked the defenders. McGivern did well, because Dayton, having scored the goal, looks like he is on fire at the moment.
He's on loan from Manchester City, man from Newry in Northern Ireland. He's playing at centre-half, just like Tesselaar for Kilmarnock, normally a full-back and at centre-half, although McGivern... Celtic were the first team through to the William Hill Scottish Cup semi-finals yesterday when they beat St Mirren 2-1 in Paisley. 2-1 away, victories all over the place in the Scottish Cup, with Falkirk beating Hamilton in New Douglas Park, followed earlier on this afternoon by Dundee United, who beat Dundee by the same scoreline, 2-1. Gary Mackay-Stephen with the important goal. So 3 through, 1 space left. Only one of these two who gets it. Here come Kilmarnock. His effort was right through to Williams, didn't catch it.
No, but it's a clever throw, get it in early. Paul Heffernan always on the move, just choked the shot into the ground.
Killie's last Scottish Cup win over Hibs was in January '96, a 2-0 win at Easter Road. Both goals from a legend around these parts, Paul Wright. And not too long after that, just over a year after that, scored the decisive goal in Kilmarnock's last Scottish Cup win, when they beat Falkirk at Ibrox in '97. Scrappy from both there. Robertson. Man on as Winchester closed him down. He's got it now. McKeown. Thanks for Heffernan, who is the lone front man, but he's not the tallest lone striker you've ever seen. Sissoko. Tesselaar gets away, it's going to come right back at Kilmarnock here though. This is promising for Hibs. Taiwo. Dunn. Griffiths waiting. Sissoko allows Callie Bell to come out and collect.
That looks like a decent effort from Matt Dunn. It was certainly travelling, all the sting taken out of it by the defender. Made it nice and easy for Cammy Bell.
Quick throw from Dunn for Stevenson. Griffiths has his eyes on it. And it drops out. Griffiths is responsible for Hibs accumulating 21 points this season. Scored goals in other games where they've not been crucial, but they have been crucial in 21 points worth of Hibs league season. He got their goal today. Well, Dayton levelled. Nick Pake. Botched clearance. He was on loan from Coventry last season. He scored the forgotten goal of the cup final last May, but he is as important at the back for Hibs as Griffiths is up the other end.
Yeah, and obviously a goal threat. You talk about the number that Lee Griffiths has scored elsewhere. Hibs, a couple from McPake, a couple from Witherspoon. Doyle's not playing, who's been the closest to his strike partner, but Hibs have not been spreading the goals around. You can't say that about Kilmarnock. You know, a lot of the players out there have been on target this season.
I think it's 15 different scorers Kilmarnock have this season, so you're spot on, Craig. James Dayton with the second of the season earlier on. They don't look it, but I'm sure they're a lot happier the way things are going now. Back into the game, Kilmarnock bench. Ball slips, but he's okay. Stevenson. Tom Taiwo. Claros. Just held his run. He's onto it now. Sissoko trying to get back. But Sissoko did just enough. Just enough. Claros. Griffiths been a little bit lighter with his initial touch. He might well have been in. Now Sissoko just back to just get a little nick onto it. Maybury. league game between the teams here earlier in the season ended 1-1. Not quite sure what that was. And it has done. Just put Kilmarnock under more pressure than they need to be at this stage. Stevenson to touch his way through. Just snipped away from Griffiths for Tesselaar. Just a couple of hairy moments of the Kilmarnock defence in the last minute or so.
Well, especially the last one, you know, you think get the ball away from goal, but Rory McKeown knocks it back into the middle of his own box, and luckily for him the ball came back and he smashed it clear, but there that could have fallen to anyone. Defensive areas always head wide.
Managed 10 clean sheets this season. What's Pat Fenlon thinking just now, do you think?
Well, I think he'd be disappointed, you know, having taken the lead, that they couldn't guard it to half-time, get reorganised, decide what they were going to do, but he's just got to trust that his troops can go out and do the same thing again, give themselves a lead, and then hope they can defend it better.
Hibs do like to, from the midfield, fire the ball forward early for Griffiths. Bell's in trouble here. It's all about the mistake from Sissoko, and Heffernan are back in front. It is a horror story for the Kilmarnock defence, but Matt Dunn knocks home for Hibs, his first for the club. But that is a horror story from Momo Sissoko. Hibs back in front.
Absolutely incredible, and Cammy Bell's been yellow carded. I'm not sure if that's something he said, Liam, but an absolute nightmare. Just clear your lines. When it's thrown out there, he's got time. Bad pass back, poor touch. Griffiths is on hand, and Dunn, all he has to do is knock the ball into empty net, and this is what they call self-inflicted. From no pressure at all, you've given a goal away. Kilmarnock have shot themselves in the foot.
Well, you got to feel so sorry for Cammy Bell there. Sissoko sold the jerseys, and he was made to pay big time by Matt Dunn and by Hibs. Nice that he doesn't bowl it out to Sissoko, and I don't blame him.
Well, I don't understand why, because there was no great room for Sissoko. As soon as he was closed down, he played a dreadful ball back, and the rest, as they say, is history.
He's prone to that, Craig. I remember the League Cup final last season early on. He gifted the ball to the Celtic striker, Gary Hooper. Of course, it was OK. He wasn't punished that time. Kilmarnock went on to lift the cup, but he is prone to those kind of errors.
Yeah, I just think if you're in any doubt at all as a defender, safety first.
Great ball by Dayton for Rory McKeown. Killie have to come back again. They've proved they can do it. But again, similar to the start of the game, Kilmarnock began the match quite well. Hibs felt their way into it, got their noses in front. Kilmarnock equalised, but since then, they haven't really been seen too much as an attacking force. Hibs, once more like they did earlier in the game when they got through the early storm, have been the better team.
Yeah, Hibs have a habit of grinding their way into games, and Kilmarnock, I would say, the match winners are in the wide areas. Gros on one side, Dayton on the other. The last 5 minutes, they can't get them involved, and that does blunt them as an attacking force.
How annoyed will he be? Be a flea in the ear of Momo Sissoko at half-time, I think, from Kenny Shields. It's in his third spell at Kilmarnock, a couple of loans from the Italian side. Udinese, he's here permanently now. Here come Hibs with Robertson to Griffiths. He was fouled there, Lee Griffiths. Kilmarnock will be a little bit nervy at the back, you would feel just now, given what has just happened. They've gifted it away again. Barbour robbed, pickpocketed by Taiwo, who found Robertson, who finds Dunn, and Bell holds on to his cross.
That's the one failing that Hibs have, is not getting enough bodies into the box when they get in wide areas. The only target in there is Lee Griffiths, and there's only one winner there, the goalkeeper.
McKeown. It's lax again from Killie. Heffernan rescued them that time. So looking for Gros. Clingan, we've not seen much of in the first half, of which there's just 3 minutes remaining. Dayton. McKeown. Kilmarnock fans want this ball in the middle. They want it in the mix-up. It's in there now. Peak. Griffiths. Poor control, and now Lee Griffiths could be in. He's on his own at the moment. Well, it was Sammy Clingan. Gave it away. Pinched off him by Griffiths. Kilmarnock had numbers back to defend that situation. Gros for Dayton. Trying to run at Waterspoon and Maybury. Fowler. Clingan. Sissoko. Winchester assessing his options. That's Paul Heffernan. Good first touch, good second touch. The third wasn't bad either, and it just kisses the post almost in its way past. Not far away.
Well, how unlucky is Paul Heffernan? The Hibs defence stopped. They think he's offside. You've got to play on, but this is great skill to create the room, and he's so unlucky. That's 6 inches wide of the post. Brilliant skill from the striker. Just can't quite find that far corner.
He just waved at the post as he went through. Williams relieved. Heffernan not far away from making it 2-2. Twice Kilmarnock led at Easter Road in the SPL in midweek. Twice Hibernian have led today, and they still lead as we go into the final minute of the first half. Taiwo. There'll be 1 minute being added on at the end of the first half. So a minimum of 1 minute. McKeown. Beaten by McPeak. Clingan is onto it. Winchester. Barbour. Heffernan. Dayton. Confirmation of the 1 minute of stoppage time. Shot from Dayton. It's an ambitious effort from James Dayton, who did hold Kilmarnock level. Sissoko does well that time. Griffiths undone. Again, James Dayton that time. They don't look too comfortable on the ball, Kilmarnock, all of a sudden.
Just a little bit nervy, you know, having given away the goal again. They've got to pick themselves up, but shortly they'll be sitting down for their half-time cup of tea, and it'll be up to the manager to get them going again.
Griffiths. And there's the half-time whistle. Eventful, to say the least. Lee Griffiths gave Hibernian the lead after 15 minutes. Calm finish is where we've come to expect from Griffiths. James Dayton equalising after Ben Williams parried a Gros effort into his path, and then a horrific error from Momo Sissoko set up Matt Dunn to restore the Hibernian advantage. Dunn, with his first for the club, has Hibs back in front and with 1 foot in the William Hill Scottish Cup semi-finals. But you would think there's plenty more to come in the second half. Half-time at Rugby Park, Kilmarnock 1, Hibernian 2.
Yeah, well, I just wonder about that because Mixer was just saying he reckons the scoring might be finished at 2-1 Hibs. Pat, I'm not so sure.
It's a very, very open game, and the fact that there is Boyd and there is the possibility to bring other players on as well, Killie and Sheridan. You just feel that there's going to be more. But, you know, right at the start, I mean, we did say early on, look at how isolated Griffiths is, but he doesn't mind that, does he? It's a bit of a nothing. Why he lumps the ball up there, I don't know, but his calmness in the finishing is fantastic.
Great finish on a difficult pitch.
And I'm really impressed with Liam's commentary because he said he doesn't miss many of these before he pops it, and that was brave.
And that was his 20th of the season, and this Mixu 1-1.
Yeah, it was great support from William Gros to Heffernan, who just did it down to him, and good strike. James Dayton.
What about this one?
This is well, Sissoko's movement before he receives the ball is forward instead of wide, and if he goes a little bit wider, he gets more time on the ball. Back pass is not great. Why does Cammy Bell take a touch there? I don't know. Just hoof it away and clear the danger, but poor goal to concede. And the first goal Hibs scored as well came from the Kilmarnock mistake. So you know, you can ask questions.
We'll talk a little bit more about that match shortly, but there's a theme developing here. Not sure what it is, but it might just be the away team winning by 2-1 in the 3 quarter-finals. So look at the goals in a little bit more detail. Hibs ahead inside 15. Lee Griffiths, not surprisingly, with his 20th of the season. But what about the part Kilmarnock played in this?
Well, there's plenty of time on the ball here, and it is just somewhere that direction instead of you know, making sure that the ball reaches the midfielder or the striker's feet. Here we see, you know, he tries to drop it into Heffernan. It is too tight. Maybe Winchester's feet would have been a better option. But Griffiths, you know, his first touch is fantastic. How he takes it under that run. Difficult, wobbly bits. You know, he's in full pace running. Just hits it low and hard. Yeah. Good finish.
One of the things you have to, so youngsters looking at Griffiths, he's actually very, very fast. He's a really quick player. He gets away there, but he slows down before he plays it. Yeah. How many players do you know who hammer through and then have a lash at it? He actually has got enough awareness about him to slow down and pick his pass out. It sounds a very simple thing. There's plenty that don't do it.
You've liked the way Hibs have passed the ball, Mixu, don't you?
Yeah, they're carrying on from last weekend's Dundee United match. I thought they passed the ball against Dundee United really well last weekend, and they were unlucky not to win the match. But you know, today I anticipated that Kilmarnock would pass the ball and Hibs would defend and hit counter-attacks through Griffiths. But it's been the other way around. Hibs have passed the ball, dominated, played on Kilmarnock's half, created chances, and you know, if you create enough chances for Griffiths, he will punish you.
It's part of that down to the tactics of Hibs, because they have played those 5 in the midfield. And it's hard to get a passing game going because when Hibs lose it, they're basically 9 players behind the ball there and given no space at all. And it doesn't look as if they've been capable to pass in that area. And
also, when Kilmarnock win the ball, Winchester is so deep, helping defending the midfield, that Paul Heffernan is isolated. He needs more support from the white players coming into those pockets, like they did in the first couple of minutes. Yeah. You know, Kilmarnock started quite brightly and passed the ball, but they found the white players in those pockets, you know, between the centre half and the midfield.
And that's exactly where you get the goal from.
Yeah, well, I hate to talk you up too much, but you did mention at the start that William Gros was playing out wide, and he had to get in and join in with Paul Heffernan, and that's exactly what happened for the equaliser.
Well, Paul Heffernan is a good link-up player. He needs people around him, and here we go, ball to him. Now that's William Gros is supporting, good strike and good follow-up. William Gros strikes the ball beautifully with right foot, left foot, as you can see here. Hibs defenders maybe a little bit, that fraction of a second, fell asleep there, didn't follow up for the rebound, and James Dayton, good finish. We give him that benefit, although there was a little bobble, but you know, great, the way he lifted it to the roof of the net, good finish.
Who do you blame more for the third goal of the game, the one that's given Hibs a half-time lead? Is it Sissoko's back pass? Is it his initial positioning? Or should Cammy Bell just have lumped it?
Well, don't play it to defender with his half on, there's players run towards him. Don't play it to him there when you're in on a bobbly pitch. But also, the manager wants him to play at the back. So I'm not blaming the manager, but that's part of the reason as well. It's a stinker of a pass back to Bell. But he shouldn't have put the defender in that position anyway. But look how much that ball's bobbling there. I don't think Sissoko can do a hell of a lot else with that, other than just lump it into the air somewhere, which would have been the right thing to do. But if that ball's bobbling along like that, you ain't going to be able to put a nice, easy pass back. So, lots of mistakes in there. And the other good thing I would suggest that you have to look at managers. Pat Fenlon's probably said, do you know what? Killie do that all the time. They roll it out to players. Let them get the ball, start rolling out, and then close them down. There's a lot of teams doing that just now because a lot of teams want to play it out. See, at this time of the year, it's the hardest time to do it because this is when the pitches are at the bobbliest. So I suspect that's good technical work by Pat Fenlon.
Sorry, Mixer.
The run of Sissoko, when Cammy Bell gets the ball, is all wrong. He should not go forward and higher up the pitch. He should go wide and create space for himself. Yes, Cammy Bell is a little bit quick giving the ball to him, realising Cammy Bell can see the whole situation. There's pressurising players coming towards his defenders, so why give the ball out so quickly? If Sissoko comes a little bit deeper, maybe that opens the full-back.
It probably went too quick for him. The other thing to remember in the midst of all this, Cammy Bell gets booked. He actually pulled over Griffiths there. Had that ball not ended up in the net, Cammy Bell would probably have been sent off.
Yeah, it would have been a penalty. Yeah. Lee Griffiths would presumably have scored it because that's what he does, and Kilmarnock would have been down to 10 men, so it could have been worse.
And in a way, they're almost a little bit lucky. So they're still in the game, and they're still creating chances. I'll give that to Kilmarnock. They are actually still creating chances just now, and they're still willing to get forward. And I suspect there will be more in the second half. As we say, Boyd can come on. I suspect it will only be 20 minutes at the end, but we shall see. And if Sheridan as well is going to come on at some point, if that's needed as well. This game is not written off for Kilmarnock yet.
And I think Paul Heffernan underlined that Kilmarnock are still in the game with this effort close on half-time, which was not far away.
Wonderful skill and awareness. Little tink over the defender there, and a good left foot shot. Very unlucky. You know,
we're allowed to suggest a Gascoigne here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We've seen Paul scoring goals like that. Yeah. Well capable of. Give him half a chance, he can create himself a chance for himself as well, and put it back in the net, but not this time.
There's the man who got the opening goal of the game, his 20th of the season in 15 minutes. Lee Griffiths, cancelled out by James Dayton. What a beard that is, and what a goal that was to make it 1-1. And then Matt Dunn scoring 2-1 Hibs. Second half about to get underway. Back to Craig, back to Liam.
Thanks, Rob. 7th Scottish Cup meeting between the two. Hibs are 4-2 up on the head-to-head. Very much in charge of things as far as the scoreline here at Rugby Park this afternoon is concerned in this quarter-final tie. One more place left in the Scottish Cup semi-finals. Hibs were there last season as they went all the way to the final. Kilmarnock get us underway. The 228th meeting between the teams. Killie have won 80, Hibs 97. 50 times the games have ended in draws, as the last two in the league have. Robertson for Hibernian. Griffiths came back from an offside position. So no changes for either team at half-time. Not too surprising, I suppose, but Kenny Shields has options, Messrs Sheridan and Boyd. You would think later on at some point we'll see at least one of those, particularly if things stay the way they are just now. That's Clingan. And Bell, who has the baying mob behind him, the Hibernian fans, about 3,000 of them, packing out the Chadwick stand behind Cammy Bell's goal. So, Craig, what have the respective managers had to say to their players at half-time?
Well, I'd imagine the Hibs manager won't be asking his midfielders to get forward too early and in too many numbers. They're going to make themselves hard to beat. The back four will sit. The midfielder have at least three in front of them. the onus is on Kilmarnock to chase the game. So I think anything that was said at half-time in terms of being positive is going to come from Kenny Shiels, because he knows at the moment his team have got to drag themselves back into this cup tie, and that means getting themselves a goal.
Winchester was out-muscled and outnumbered there. He's back on it though. It's Tesselaar's ball. Wotherspoon. Claros. Wotherspoon. Maybury. Wotherspoon. Robertson. Good interchange football this from Hibernian. The referee, will he bring it back if Hibs can't make something of it? Griffiths almost did make something of it. And Kilmarnock getting away. Cammy Bell, the goalkeeper, involved in that.
Well, I think Hibs were looking for a free kick just outside the box, and they didn't get it. Lee Griffiths refused to give things up, and he just manages to go through players. How he gets through there, I don't know, but the final effort might have been going wide, but defensively, good play. Don't take any chances.
Ross Barbour there with the goalkeeper, getting good football from Hibernian. Wotherspoon's ball, it's taken away by Taiwo. And fresh air from Matt Dunn. It's a goal kick. The Hibs have started the second half well.
Yeah, I think that's good news. You get David Wotherspoon in the forward areas, getting balls into the box. The opposite side midfield player is getting at the back post. That's far better from Hibs. Bodies in the box when you get into attacking areas. Tesselaar. Ball is bobbling about, it's awkward. A flag on the far side. Keeps so close. A second equaliser for Kilmarnock in the first half to Paul Heffernan. It'll be interesting to see how long Kenny Shiels takes to go to the bench. You know, I think you give them 5 or 10 minutes to get themselves going, trying to put Hibs under pressure. If it doesn't happen, then I think he might just decide to try and change things. 6 in his last 6, Paul Heffernan, though that does include a hat-trick at Tynecastle against Hearts. Tesselaar. Kilmarnock came through ties against Queen of the South, who are runaway second division leaders, and then against high-flying Inverness to get to the stage as Griffiths goes through. Bell clutches on. Very nearly a magnificent ball from Ryan McGivern, but again Kilmarnock defensively, you can't be picked off by a ball straight down the middle. Couple of better results for Inverness Caley Thistle in recent times, but when they came here on Scottish Cup duty last month, very much the form team in the SPL. Kilmarnock came through 2 goals from Heffernan. Clingan. He's compatriot Winchester, the Northern Irishman. But well forward. Well, Kenny Shiels will want to see that from his wing backs. Yeah, but you've got to put a ball in the middle. You know, it's a great run, great skill. Then get the ball in the danger area. Chances of scoring from there? No. Ross Barbour, 19. Chris Boyd, 29. Second spell at the club, yet to make his debut. Will we see him later? Taiwo. Stevenson. Dunn is away on the left-hand side. Asking the question of Barbour. Hibs do look the more likely. Yeah, they're actually going pretty direct, trying to get the Kilmarnock defenders turn, get them back towards their own goalkeeper, and they know, having given away a goal, it does mix up your mind, and now what they're doing is they're just clearing the lines, but it allows Hibs to get up the park. Griffiths. And Gros. It's gone the wrong way, Wotherspoon, but Griffiths is offside. A decent header from David Witherspoon. I think he realises Lee Griffiths is on the far side, but he just can't get back quick enough and his guard's off.
Kenny Shields is ponderous down there. At times it hasn't looked like Hibs are the away team. This is Witherspoon. Tried the reverse. Should be Bells. It was in the end.
Yeah, you have to give a mention to the Hibs fans who've turned out in such numbers. You know, it makes it even Stevens. If not, the Hibs fans actually have the bigger numbers. So, you know, as a player coming out the tunnel and hearing your own fans louder than the home fans, I mean, it must be great for them.
Yeah, they've packed out that end. Each of them absolutely desperate to end that 111-year wait. And if they can do it this season, it will be all the sweeter given what happened to them last season. Winchester. Kilmarnock will of course have other ideas. It's the 1-goal deficit. Clingan. Good ball. Gros. He's gonna have a pop. It's well wide, and the goalkeeper knew it as soon as it left his foot.
I think the keeper will want William Gros closed down quicker than that. He showed in the first half with his effort that he's more than capable of scoring from that kind of distance. You cannot allow him to turn and take pot shots at goal.
Yeah, as we saw in the first half, that effort from him, which was saved by Williams, but Dayton was there on the follow-up to knock it into the net. Griffiths. It's Bells. But again, they can't take their eye off Lee Griffiths for a split second.
You know, any young player just want to know about making forward runs should watch this lad, because he is very clever. He times them so well.
Here's a forward run though. Heffernan, shot for handball, corner only. Heffernan with the effort.
Again, it's a good break from Kilmarnock, and the ball in. Heffernan just gets across the front of Ryan McGivern. Looks like he's hitting target. Ball comes off McGivern, behind for the corner kick. Any talk of penalty, mind you, when you're that close together, it's actually James McPake. No question of penalty there when the players are that close together, not a chance.
Kilmarnock corner, which Dayton's going to take. It's Witherspoon's. There's one area of the 6-yard box, there was nobody in red and white. Hibs' last 2 games have been 2-2 draws. Draw with Dundee United before the midweek visit of Kilmarnock. Heffernan. Dayton. Made by McPake. First time in the second half that Kilmarnock have really managed to pin Hibernian back. And that's a dreadful ball from Sheridan Tesselaar. That doesn't help.
No, when you've got a team under pressure, don't give the ball away quite so cheaply, because they forced Hibs back. They're quite happy to defend on the 18-yard line, but now a chance to get themselves down the other end of the pitch.
Killie in a decent run as well, unbeaten in their last 6. Lost just 2 of their last 14. Away to Celtic and at home to Dundee United here. Equally so in a decent run, just lost 2 of the last 10, and Witherspoon goes down. Hibs will play on, it would have been a free kick. Witherspoon stays on the deck. Dunn to Stevenson. Tywell. It's for Witherspoon, on his feet. Tesselaar calmly out to Dayton. McKeown. the free kick and goaded Scott Robertson into it.
Yeah, just rolled his body across the ball and hit the deck. Scott Robertson not too happy, felt there wasn't too much contact there, and hard to tell, but nowadays I think when players go to ground invariably they get a free kick.
Scott Robertson involved for Hibs there. He's been a good signing. It's always going to be a decent signing for Pat Fenlon. Very brief spell at Blackpool. Here come Killie with Gros, who's away from Stevenson, blocked by McKeown. Well, the referee says no foul.
Well, I've got to say, I think the referee's quite right, because Ryan McKeown cannot become invisible. All he does is stand, he doesn't change his position, and William Gros eventually runs into him. McKeown backtracks, he stands, there's no way he can get out the road there. The referee, for me, is quite right, but I tell you what, you don't see that often. Normally, it's a whistle and it's a free kick.
Although, to be fair, you didn't see the Kilmarnock players having a go at John Beaton, the referee. Wotherspoon. Open up a wee bit for him there. Griffiths almost in behind Sissoko. A little bit too long in the ball, some of the Kilmarnock players, when they are being put under pressure. And Hibs are able to do that. They've been doing it to teams all season.
Well, the great thing about having 5 midfield players is you're like a swarm. You know, if you get across and push against players, anybody who takes a touch and moves the ball a couple of yards, you can get to him quickly.
Wotherspoon. It's away from 3. He's looking for the 1-2, which he did just a rerun of what happened a moment or two ago. Tried the little interchange with Lee Griffiths. Pay off. Gros approaching the hour mark at Rugby Park. Dayton. McKeown, it's a slow overlap, but he's out to the left. Dayton. Haven't really tested Ben Williams in the second half. What can they do here? James Dayton teasing Alan Maybury. He just lets that go out of play, shepherding it out, goal kick.
That's terrific play from Alan Maybury. James Dayton is a bag of tricks. He can go inside, he can go outside, but Hibs fullback, experienced campaigner, just stood his ground and then shepherded the ball out for the goal kick.
Two Ulster brains coming together and trying to work out how they're going to get out of this. Hibs 2-1 up, eyeing up the semi-finals. McGivern. Wotherspoon appreciating the fact he spotted him, but it was a dreadful pass in the end.
Just overhit, but you see James McPake and Ryan McGivern, they're not trying to thread passes in that might be picked off. They're going for the long crossfield ball. If you lose it, Kilmarnock still have to work their way through virtually the entire Hibs team.
It's long from McKeown. Gros. Oh, how calm was that? Well defended by Hibs, and now they're on the counter. Robertson to Wotherspoon. Robertson, good run ahead of him. Scott Robertson. Not too much in it. It's Tesselaar clattering in.
Yeah, I think he knows he's going into a challenge, Scott Robertson. And yeah, it's the follow through that catches him. And we're back to the old thing years ago. That was a perfectly legitimate challenge. Nowadays, it's a free kick.
Okay, just making sure that goes back to Ben Williams. Rightly so, Lee Griffiths gets all the headlines, but as far as signings are concerned, Hibs with Ben Williams in goal, and an equally important signing is Sissoko fighting for it with what a signing, winning the free kick as well, off done.
Yeah, he does well, uses his body, sees off the challenger done, and eventually draws the free kick, but Sissoko, it's just a battle of strength there. He gets his body across, he's always winning there, and the tug of the jersey, and the referee rightly penalises the Hibs wide man.
Winchester. Unlucky Winchester, but again, every single loose ball seems to be going for Hibs right now. Claros, though, couldn't find Griffiths. The ball was aimed for Dayton. Maybury was there, though. Wotherspoon, who unbelievably was in the winning side against Hearts for the first time when he scored the winner in the Scottish Cup 4th round this season. 1-0 victory at Easter Road. Fowler and Dayton. It's not really happening for James Dayton in the second half. He got the Kilmarnock equaliser to make it 1-1. McKeown, played from him. I think of the ball this time goes Kilmarnock's way. We hear Killie and Sheridan is being readied to come on. Now you can see him in the top right ear picture there. Kilmarnock striker will be on shortly. Griffiths going up with Tesselaar. It's Griffiths' tenacity again. And it's going to be a Hibernian free kick. The challenge on Lee Griffiths. And a yellow card for Sissoko as well.
I can only imagine it's high foot and possibly stud showing. Lee Griffiths managed to just nick the ball away. I think the referee thought maybe about playing on a little bit of advantage, but you know something, I can't believe he's been yellow carded for that. It's a minor trip, but Sissoko, I think, hard done by there with the yellow card.
Well, once this is all over, we hear it's going to be a very optimistic and attacking move that Kenny Shiels is going to make from the bench. We hear Rory McKeown will be off and Killie and Sheridan will be on. Left back off, striker on. But Hibs have a free kick opportunity here, which Lee Griffiths is over. Nothing comes of it this time. It's McPake stretching his legs. And an offside flag. It's against Wotherspoon.
James McPake driving forward. David Wotherspoon just offside. If he leaves it alone, James McPake might have got there, but decided to try and knock the ball in and killed the move for him.
26 minutes to go, and here's the Kilmarnock substitution. Rory McKeown going off, Killie and Sheridan coming on, and Craig Patterson can tell us what that means tactically.
Well, I can only imagine they're going to go three at the back. They're going to go with Tesselaar, Sissoko, just bring Barbour in off that side, and then shove Killie and Sheridan up alongside Paul Heffernan, just adding to their attacking options. They've kept the two wide players, they've got two strikers, they're going to run the risk of being a man short at the back.
Paul Heffernan scored a hat-trick against Hearts recently. Killie and Sheridan did it earlier on in the season. 10 goals Sheridan has scored. Now Kilmarnock need him to turn it on, but it's Lee Griffiths turning it on for Hibs here, blocked by Sissoko. Sheridan's first touch. It's it back from Winchester. Gros. It's Fowler. He's been at Kilmarnock so long, he made his debut as a substitute for Ian Durrant. Winchester spots Gros. It's a free kick.
Quick feet from William Gros, draws the foul, and they try to take it quickly, but Matt Dunn, I think, is going to be yellow carded for not allowing that to be taken.
Yeah. John Beaton, the referee, shrugging his shoulders, saying, well, you've given me no option there. These bookings can be quite cheap as they get tallied up. Kilmarnock 1, Hibernian 2. The last William Hill Scottish Cup quarter-final. Clingan's free kick for Killie. Ruben McPake. That is what you want from your centre-half. What about that for a clearance? Griffiths. Wobbly surface which Cammy Bell had to deal with. Ian And Sissoko, in that awful moment before half-time that gifted Hibs their second goal at the moment, their passage to the last four.
It's a silly challenge from the youngster. You've got a player right on the touchline going away from goal. Just stand up, make him do something clever to beat you. You know, you charge into the back of players, a free kick, and now this is going to be whipped in on top of your defence.
I was looking for a third, which could be the one that puts them through. Big moments in the game, this. In from Griffiths. Poor delivery that time. Gros got there ahead of Heffernan. Into the final quarter of the quarter-final. Sheridan. Up to check, he gets Dayton involved. Gros, Heffernan and Sheridan waiting in the middle. Dayton can pick out a cross here. It's an awkward bounce. Cairo could deal with that, and Kilmarnock are back on it, and it's Jude Winchester. Way too close to Ben Williams, though. His bench want a free kick out there. Going the other way. There's Lee Griffiths with the challenge.
Yeah, Lee Griffiths was dispossessed, then chased back, and the referee went sprinting across as if he felt something was going to develop between the two players, but it certainly didn't seem like anything in it. There's the challenge. Lee Griffiths probably felt that was a foul. Now he comes back and tries to win the ball back, but well, there's no kicking out, there's no nothing there.
He comes towards Sissoko. Wotherspoon clears. Clingan. Sheridan. Sissoko had remained in an advanced position there, looking for Heffernan. Sheridan wasn't in behind them. The challenge was by Tesselaar and Wotherspoon. And it's a free kick to Hibs. Tesselaar claiming there's not much else he could have done there.
Tesselaar claiming, I think that David Wotherspoon just made a back. He just leant over, but you can see that he comes clattering into the back of him far too early.
Kenny Shields, Craig, will be concerned that Kilmarnock have created so little in the final third.
Well, you know, he's brought on Killie and Sheridan. He's now got the ammunition on there because he's got 4 players who can get in the forward areas, but at the moment they just can't get them involved.
Claros with the Hibernian free kick. Sissoko keeps his eye on it, gets it away. Griffiths. And Fowler with a cushion header for Clingan. He hasn't had a good game. Scored it midweek at Easter Road. It's fired through to Griffiths. Couldn't quite take it down. He knows had he done so, he might have had a shot and goal there.
It's a really awkward ball for him, but you know, he has the ability to kill that, and then we know he can certainly find the back of the net. Times are run perfectly again. His first touch is good. There's a fair chance he hits the back of the net.
Final 20 minutes. Sheridan gets it to the Heffernan, tried to return the favour. McKeown doesn't deal with it. It's Dayton. Gets a shot away and Williams makes the save. Kilmarnock feel there was a push here, and it has been it is a penalty. It is a push, and Kilmarnock have their route back in.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the referee or the linesman that actually gives this decision, but first things first, it's a brilliant effort and a great save by Ben Williams. When the ball comes back, the referee sees Lewis Stevens, who is struggling wrong side. He must have put his hands on the back to attract the attention of the referee. What a chance for Kilmarnock. Don't clear the ball, don't clear their lines. Here's a good hit. Good save by the keeper. And then, well, you can't tell from there, you can't really see, but certainly a lot of Kilmarnock players asking for the penalty. The referee gives them their way, and what a chance for Paul Heffernan.
Paul Heffernan with the opportunity to save Kilmarnock's Scottish Cup dreams. And does! Wonderful penalty! Went for power! And it pays off! It's 2-2!
That's a brave penalty. You've got to figure the goalkeeper's going to move, so if you smash it straight down the middle, you get yourself a goal. And everybody who takes a penalty against Hibs knows that Ben Williams has saved a fair number of spot kicks this season, but he goes for power, he goes straight, and it's in the back of the net. 2-2, everything to play for.
Well, Lewis Stevenson was raging with a decision which was clearly made by Andy Tate, who's the assistant referee over in the main stand side. Williams saved, out it came, down went Heffernan. Craig Patterson.
Well, you can hardly see any contact at all there, but the linesman sees from his side. I'm not so sure. I'm not sure Lewis Stevenson's foot comes down on the back of Heffernan, but from that angle, you didn't see an awful lot of contact. Big decision by the linesman.
Yeah, it looked like it came into the soft category, but Kilmarnock don't care about that. Hibs, who've had their noses in front twice in this game, as Kilmarnock did at Easter Road in midweek, will try and get themselves back in front in this game. If this does go to a replay, it will be played on Wednesday the 13th. A week on Wednesday at Easter Road. We must have wondered where the goal was going to come from. Kenny Shields came from the spot. Sissoko's underneath that one. He's applied the pressure. Still, Gros has to deal with it. The pressure from Taiwo. Who will react best to that strike? Will Hibernian feel they have a sense of grievance, or will Kilmarnock try and take advantage of the fact that they have got the most recent goal and perhaps will have the bit between the teeth? Here comes Dunlop for Hibernian. Overlap comes from Stevenson, who gave away the penalty. The referee, John Beaton, took a while before awarding it. He looked over at the linesman before taking his advice. He'll be stunned, won't he?
Well, he'll be raging because he'll feel that there was nothing in it there. Lewis Stevenson, you know, there's so little contact there to make a huge decision like that. Linesman's a brave man. He's not going to be popular with the Hibs boss.
There's something coming from the first time Kilmarnock asked a question of Ben Williams. Andy Tate, the assistant referee there. Fowler. Over into Gros. Tesselaar. Clingan. Sheridan. Winchester. Heffernan. Gros. Kilmarnock probing. Tesselaar. Taken away from Heffernan by McKeown. Already, since Sheridan has come on, you can see Kilmarnock with the two strikers. Different shape. Sheridan out on the right in a moment, but it's Hibs on the counter with Dunn. Plays in Griffiths. He's back to goal there. Kilmarnock get away with it. 15 minutes to go, and this is going to be action-packed. You can guarantee that. Claros. Griffiths. Dunn's waiting. Griffiths goes himself, and Bell saves. Would he have been better advised to square it? Easy to say that now after the goalkeeper saves. This is Ryan McGiver. Robertson. Claros. Made by Dayton, but he's put that straight to Robertson. Though Sissoko dealt with the bounce. Winchester is going to be coming off shortly for Kilmarnock. They're going to replace him with young Marco Hara. It's Winchester now, firing it out to the Frenchman Gros. 14 minutes left. Taiwo comes out on top. Claros. I mentioned at the start, Craig, how unpredictable these games are, and this, you just wouldn't want to bet on anyone winning this match.
No, and it looks like they're both going to try and win it, because Kilmarnock have put on the players to get themselves back into the game. I don't think they can now sit back and try and defend, and Hibs, every time they get the ball, you know, Griffiths continues to make these runs, continues to give them something in that attacking area.
It was poor from Dayton that time. Claros. And Scott Robertson, 2010 Scottish Cup winner with Dundee United. Claros. Oh, it's almost a fresh air. He got something on it, at least, to Barbour. Griffiths was waiting to pounce behind him. And now it's Gros. For Sheridan, Gros has continued his run. Heffernan! Brilliant challenge from McKeown, and it had to be.
That is so well timed. Anything else, it's a penalty. That is a brilliant challenge.
At the other end we go. Robertson. And Griffiths. We take on Barbour, then goes the Hibernian forward. Long look at it from John Beaton, the referee. No free kick. To the derision of the Hibernian faithful. Dayton, and a look to see where Wotherspoon was. He's with him now. Dayton going through the gears. Heffernan. Sheridan's at the back post. It's too high for him. Stevenson wisely just letting things calm down a little, letting it go out for the goal kick.
I don't think there's too many calm players out there now. I think you can feel the tension. 12 minutes plus a bit of stoppage time to go, and there has been no let up in this game. It continues to flow end to end. Now here is as good a defensive challenge as you'll see. Perfectly timed, perfectly executed, and it had to be. As I say, anything else, and it's a penalty kick.
There's Mark O'Hara. Saw him earlier in the season, played at Celtic Park in the 2-0 victory for Kilmarnock, their first since the late 50s. And he was 16, no 17, just turned 17, but he was magnificent against Celtic in Glasgow. Hibs making a couple of changes here. Owen Doyle is on. Tom Taiwo's off. And Gary Deegan, who scored the winner against Aberdeen in the last round, has come on as well.
Certainly Gary Deegan gives you composure. He wants to get on the ball, he wants to pass it, he wants to keep possession. And I think Hibs feel if the game, if you're going to go and try and win it today, then Owen Doyle will try and get up alongside Lee Griffiths every chance he gets.
So Doyle on for Dunn was one of the changes. Taiwo off, Deegan on was the other Hibernian change. They all happened at the same time there. Claros. Now Maybury. Tesselaar just shielding the ball against Wotherspoon. It's gone Hibs' way.
He must have just got a nick on it, so David Wotherspoon did well again. Don't make a challenge there when the defender's under pressure.
It comes and it's Sissoko who gets it away. Only half clear though. David Wotherspoon. Maybe a Hibs corner if Sissoko can't prevent it, which he has done. And then Dayton then puts it out for the corner. Looked harder to do that.
Yeah, well, it's a complete slice. He's trying to hook that away from goal, and he's cut it behind for the corner kick. And James McPeak, Ryan McGibbon will charge forward for this one.
The final 10 minutes of the Scottish Cup quarter-final tie at Rugby Park. Hibs corner. Griffiths takes it. Well, it was an awkward one for Kilmarnock to deal with. It was Clingan in the near post. McPeak charging in.
Well, it comes in at pace as always with Lee Griffiths. James McPeak, I just can't quite get there. The ball ricochets off him for the goal kick.
Williams looking for Doyle. Fowler got enough in it to force the ball to Clingan. Barbour. Sheridan tried to play in Gros. That's long for Griffiths. Sissoko's under real pressure here. Griffiths is in behind him. There was a push there, surely, on Griffiths, who turns it in anyway. Hibs are back in front. Kilmarnock stop playing, and Lee Griffiths sends the Hibs into dreamland.
Absolutely incredible. It's that ball I spoke about. You should never get beat. Straight down the middle. Sissoko's outpaced. I thought Griffiths might have been nicked and was looking for a penalty, but when it looked like Cammy Bell had sorted things out, Griffiths, he refused to give up, and he eventually got his reward. It's incredible the number of times that he comes up with the goods at the big moment. Straight ball, gets himself across the centre back. Thought there he might have been looking for a penalty, and as everybody else, Sissoko turns away, the goalkeeper can't get back, and that man Griffiths, he has been an absolute wonder for us this season, and yet again he produces on the big occasion.
Yeah, absolutely incredible from Lee Griffiths, who has scored more than half of Hibernian's goals this season. That one, possibly the most important so far. We shall see. Well, Chris Boyd's going to be on shortly for Kilmarnock to make his debut. All hands to the pump. Killie and Sheridan's cross. McKeown concedes the corner. This tie ain't over.
Well, now Kilmarnock have just got to throw everything and the kitchen sink at Hibs. I'm not sure who they're going to take off to bring Boyd on, but I would imagine with Kenny Shields, it's going to be another really positive substitution.
Jerome Tesselaar off the defender. And on comes Chris Boyd. Let's listen to the reception. He's back. The SPL's all-time record goal scorer. 67 goals the last time he was at Kilmarnock. He scored in his last 7 appearances for the club. As the corner comes in, comes off Sissoko, and it is a goal kick.
Well, I suppose the question now is, can Chris Boyd do for Kilmarnock? Well, Lee Griffiths has been doing all season for Hibs, and that is pop up with a goal which could be absolutely vital.
Most recently at Portland Timbers, away up in the northwest of the USA. Rangers striker who has scored, as I say, 67 the last time, 164 goals in league football, 6 more than his nearest challenger Henrik Larsson. Here's Dayton. Boyd makes the run, looking right through the Boyd, but he couldn't get it under control. Sheridan was in behind them, and with 5.5 minutes to go, you suspect Hibs will just play on the counter-attack. They lead 3-2, Griffiths with 2. Sheridan flicks on for Boyd, comes back to Sheridan, pinched off him. Sissoko. Gros. Good spin and turn that comes off Boyd, and it is a goal kick.
William Gros, he's not been shy about taking a potted goal this afternoon, but that one, I don't think it was going to worry the goalkeeper anyway, but just nicks off Chris Boyd, who's making the run across the front of him, and he goes behind for the goal kick.
Well, it looked like we were heading for a replay. 3 times Hibernian have led. Already through to the semi-finals are Celtic, 2-1 winners at St Mirren yesterday. Falkirk already through to the semi-finals, 2-1 winners at Hamilton Accies. Dundee United through, winning the Dundee derby earlier on this afternoon, 2-1 winners at Dens Park. Gary Mackay-Stephen, after Jim McAllister had equalised a Brian McLean goal. United, Celtic and Falkirk all through. Hibernian looking at the moment like joining them. Kilmarnock have 4 minutes plus injury time to try and save it once more.
Yeah, Kilmarnock they need to get possession of the ball. They need to move it in the Hibs half. I'd imagine Hibs will just knock these things wide and just try and get themselves a throw, try and get a corner kick, keep the ball down that end and run down the clock. It's the professional way to go. Somebody in red and white is going to get the foot on the ball, drive Kilmarnock forward. and fashion some kind of effort into the box.
Well, we told you there'd be goals this afternoon. That is how it's proved. 2 from Griffiths, either side of a Matt Dunn strike. After horrible defending by Cammy Bell and Sissoko. Through it comes to Griffiths again. Griffiths is onside on a hat-trick, but Bell's out. Oh, it's a red card. It's a red card for Barbour. The challenge on Griffiths.
Yeah, it's a tug outside the box, but you're going to say that's a definite goal-scoring opportunity. Griffiths then can't catch up and take on the goalkeeper, so I think the referee left with no option there. Young Barbour, red carded, he's off, and Lee Griffiths will have a chance with this free kick.
Well, there's a Hibs change coming up in a moment or two, but Kilmarnock down to 10 men for the challenge by Barbour. Bell dealt with it in the end.
Yeah, I think Lee Griffiths will say if he hadn't been tugged, he'd have got to the ball early and would have had a chance to score.
Hibs, I think, about to bring on young Alex Harris, who's a midfield player. Perhaps the free kick here from Griffiths to be taken, though. Bell waits. Griffiths, like I say, is on a hat-trick. Off the wall, handball, penalty! And it was William Gros, who's booked as well.
You're going to stand in the wall, you're going to stand with your arms down or across your body. If you lift up and it hits your arm like that, that's a penalty kick, no question.
Well, Lee Griffiths has had some season, but he has a chance to hit a hat-trick here in the last couple of minutes, surely for a place in the semi-finals. And Hibs, man of the season, puts them into the last 4. A hat-trick from Lee Griffiths. Seldom has a player made such an impact at Hibs as that man has this season.
Well, it's just so cool in these situations. Some players panic. This lad makes his mind up, picks his side, and even if the goalkeeper guesses right, you're not getting near that. An absolutely brilliant penalty. No chance for Cammy Bell.
Done and dusted for Hibernian. They're going back to Hampden. Ghosts may well be about to be exorcised. "4-2 it is. I think Lee Griffiths, the player going off here. Last touch of the game was to knock it into the net for his hat-trick. Into the final minute, 4-2, and it's been the Griffiths show again.
I think the only reason he's going off is so he can get a standing ovation from the Hibs fans. He has been sensational once again. The difference between the two sides this afternoon is that man there, Lee Griffiths of Hibs. He has been absolutely outstanding, and there's no doubt at all the William Hill Scottish Cup man of the match this afternoon, Hibs striker Lee Griffiths.
A no-brainer for you today, Craig, as far as that's concerned. Well, Kilmarnock threw on Chris Boyd in the hope that he would be the man who could steal the headlines, but a horrible couple of minutes for Kilmarnock, so Ross Barbour sent off before the penalty given for the handball by Gros. The man who's just on, Harris, on the far side, 18-year-old Scotland under-19 international, who replaced Griffiths there. Where would they be without him, Craig?
Nobody can answer that question, and you know, from the Hibs fans' point of view, is what happens next season. You know, the club have got to try and keep him. Can they come up with a deal to keep a player who has done what that lad has done this season? They've got to find some way.
There's Alex Harris there, big moment for him. Had a couple of substitute appearances earlier in the season, but that's when you want to give your youngsters first team experience, when you're comfortable in a quarter-final. We're into injury time and it's a 4-2 lead.
Well, it's a joy coming on just to get a bit of first division, first team action in a game that has already been won.
Still got ambitions in the league, Hibernian, as they look to get into Europe. Not much between the teams in the league as far as points are concerned. Hibs just ahead of Killie. But Pat Fenlon, as I said in the first half, never wants to use the Scottish Cup final of last year as a point of reference. But it must surely be burning away inside him. The draw will be made tomorrow for the semi-finals. Celtic, Dundee United and Falkirk all in there already. Hibernian about to join them. That's through for Doyle, who is clean through here. Bell comes to meet him, too much on the header, but it won't bother the Hibs fans that much.
He took an absolutely dreadful touch, didn't he? You know, a player who's just come on as a substitute, not really up to the speed of the game, because had he been, he's through in the goalkeeper and could well have helped himself to a goal in the last minute.
Final minute of the 3 that were added on at the end. He'll enjoy himself tonight. Another virtuoso display from Lee Griffiths. If ever got something on it, he was being held by Boyd as well. So it's going to be a free kick to Hibs, and they can play out the final few seconds as they would like to. Final thoughts, Craig Patterson.
Well, I think it's been a terrific game. You know, it's ebbed and it's flowed, but one man made the difference, and Kilmarnock defensively, they just gave away far too many goals. A number of goals that went straight down the middle of the park. You know, the manager can't defend that. His players at the back are going to be able to deal with that ball. They didn't today, cost them big time.
Hibs march a little bit further down Redemption Road. Pat Fenlon has guided his team back into the semi-finals of the William Hill Scottish Cup, as he did last season. They made the final last season. They don't want that mention anymore, but they have just taken another step back towards getting into the showpiece at Hampden Park at the end of the season, and they have to look at that man Lee Griffiths again. A hat-trick for him this afternoon. Goals 20, 21 and 22 of the season for him. He has sailed the Hibernian ship through the waters this season after all of the last campaign's disappointments. The penalty was the third, having given them the lead early on in the first half. On 15 minutes, in fact, it was cancelled out by James Dayton on the rebound from the William Gros shot that was saved by Ben Williams. Matt Dunn then took advantage of some horrendous defending from Kilmarnock between Bell and Sissoko to hammer home 2-2 when Paul Heffernan was fouled by Lewis Stevenson, so said the assistant referee. Heffernan took the penalty himself to make it 2-2. It looked at that point like it was going to go to a replay. Then up stepped Lee Griffiths again. The big goals at the big times in the big games. And Griffiths with 2, the second a penalty at the end of the match. Sealed it against 10-man Kilmarnock, who had Ross Barbour sent off. He's the man in Leith. It finishes here at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock 2, Hibernian 4.
Thanks for the reminder, Lee Griffiths, about how many goals he scored. Just when we'd forgotten. What a performance Mixer Patalainen from him.
Oh, wonderful. He's so sharp. The way he goes past players, you know, first couple of steps, and you know, is wonderful. His technique, you know, he takes these little touches, little turns, creates space for himself. Finishes are first class. You know, top striker.
Did you expect a cup tie like that, Pat?
No, to be honest, no. I thought it was going to be much tighter. Hibs playing such a kind of defensive system. 4-2. Lee Griffiths, brilliant.
Here's the main man.
Lee, a fantastic individual performance from yourself. Hibs through 4-2 winners, a hat-trick for yourself. You've got the match ball there. How do you sum it all up?
I can't quite believe it. It's my first ever hat-trick in professional football. But it was just nice to get the win and get back to handling again.
You've had some memorable moments this season in the Hibs shirt. It's been a great season for you. You've been banging in the goals all season, but where does today rank?
Oh, that's right up there with the best. To score a hat-trick at any level is good, but to get in a quarter-final of the Scottish Cup, it's magnificent, and I'll never forget it, I don't think.
You're a Hibs fan, of course. Huge travelling support at Hibs fans today. You celebrated with them behind the goal there when you were scoring the goals. Just what does it mean to you to give them something in this competition? We all know the history that Hibs have in this competition. We all know what happened in the cup final last season. Is that a major factor when you're playing there?
Yeah, last season at the final we embarrassed not just ourselves but everybody associated with the club. We've got a chance to rectify that. Obviously we've got the semi-final coming up now, but which will be a hard game whoever we get. And then if we win that, we've got the final again. But we just wanted to give the fans something back. You've seen, like you said, there was a massive crowd today, and hopefully there'll be probably double or triple that in the semi-final.
Celtic, Dundee United, Falkirk, who do you prefer?
Doesn't really matter, we're there now, and we've just got to cherish the moment when we get there.
Lee, you are the William Hill Scottish Cup Man of the Match. Here's the champagne. Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers.
Had it finished 2-2, there would have been a lot to have been said about that penalty incident when Paul Heffernan went down and Kilmarnock equalised.
Yeah, it was quite soft, but you can see Lewis Stevenson has a hand on.
And by the way, he has to go and smash that away with his sort of right foot there, but he doesn't. But there's a mild. This is the best angle. The mildest of pushes in the back.
Very soft.
It's very for that angle there. That's a great angle, guys. But it's a tough one. That.
But the assistant referee on the sideline only sees that hand touching the player there, and clearly gives a penalty.
Yeah, made the best decision they possibly could. Tough one to make, actually, very tough one to make. But it made for a great game. I mean, the action kept coming. Yeah,
on to Lee Griffiths' second goal of the game. And Kilmarnock will look back on this cup tie, Mixu, and think they did too much towards allowing Hibs to win.
Too simple. Just a long ball over the centre-half's head. Sissoko clearly anticipates totally wrong this long ball. But all credit to Griffiths. You know, he gets there, he's a willing runner, he's always there. You know, that's tactics that Hibs use, and they use it very well. It would have been a penalty unless he scored. He scored, no penalty needed, so, you know, fantastic. But again, look, he's pushed over. Where's the ball? There he is. I don't care if the goalkeeper has a hand on it or not. I'm going to score. Real goal scorer.
One of the surprises of the afternoon, Pat, is to discover that that's Lee Griffiths' first ever hat-trick in professional football. Yeah, I have to say, it kind of stunned me slightly, but absolutely brilliant that he got into that position all the time. But Sissoko and Bell together today, I think they had big problems, no communication between them, and waiting for each other to do the right thing, and neither did. Let's hear from the Hibs manager, Pat Fenlon.
Well, Pat, I don't know about you, but I've got the adrenaline still pumping after that roller coaster the last 15 minutes. It must be amazing for you, the feeling at this moment in time. Yeah, we're delighted. I'm delighted for the players and the supporters and everybody with the club. You know, it was a great game. It was a good game of football today, you know, and I thought we showed great character again like we did during the week. You know, we conceded a penalty. I'd like to see it again, but to go back and like we did during the week, like I say, and to go back up the park and score is tremendous characters. I just presented Lee Griffiths with the Man of the Match award. Really no doubt about who should get that award. What else can you say about him this season? Well, I don't know. I thought Jorge Claris was different class today, to be honest. Jorge doesn't seem to get any recognition, but his performances for us this season have been top class. Lee's a class player, great finisher, all types of goals. Worked very hard today in a lone role, you know. But all around the team, I don't think we had a bad player today. I think everybody is real good performances. And real steeliness about Hibs as well as the goals of Lee Griffiths as well. Now, Pat, no doubt about being deserved winners today. I don't think so. I think maybe we'll get a bit of credit we deserve now. We're a good side and we've shown that again today. We've shown it over the course of the season. We've got ourselves back to Hamden, which is really important for the club. But it's only into a semi-final. We've got to make sure then whoever we get that we try to perform like that again on the day. You could get Celtic, you could get Falkirk, you could get Dundee United. Out of those three, which would you prefer in the semis? I don't care. We're in the semis. That's all we're worried about. We want to make sure. We wanted to make sure we got there. We can't deal who we get. We just got to wait and see. But if we play like we did today, we're capable of beating anybody. Pat, very well done today. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think many people would have expected going into the quarterfinals that one to be the highest scoring. It had everything: 6 goals, red card, talking point, and this is the lead up to the goal which finally settled it.
Yeah, obviously again Griffiths makes a run behind the defence. Young Barbour this time. I must say that it is poorly defended that initially. 2 defenders against 1 striker, and the striker is wide open between them. There's a tug. Clearly Barbour never complained after the penalty and the red card, so you know, the free kick and the red card, so you know, it was a clear decision.
Yeah, free kick, handball, and then the penalty, of course, which followed on.
It's almost a bit of a nightmare for Kilmarnock at this point in time. You cannot complain about that. The arms up there, I don't like. He's not deliberately done it clearly, but his arms up in that sort of position, and you do not get better penalty kicks than that. That's absolutely fabulous. Did anybody think that Lee Griffiths was going to miss that penalty kick after the goals he scored. How well he played. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Start to finish today. Difficult to talk about anyone else. He was so good. And the Hibs fans hoping that they're another step down that road to not talking about you-know-what.
I don't think anybody... I think nobody will say what might happen. You know, this might be the year, it might not, I don't know, but, you know, so many people in the Hibs end are hoping that, you know, it happens, but, you know, they've been so close so many times. I don't know, this could be, but with Lee Griffiths on board, Pat, anything's possible. I think there's a bit of belief there. We talked right at the top of the programme the fact that Heffernan looked much better just with Griffiths up front on his own. They're more positive that way. And just look what happened. On his own, let him do it. And now, they're not a one-man team, and Pat Fenley was quick to say, look, wait a minute, look, there's lots of players played well today. But in the end, the whole thing is gauged towards that one guy. And if he's playing at his very, very best, it's difficult for any team to stop him. But I'm not going to say they're going to win the Scottish Cup. Not yet. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Mixu, as well. And we will wrap up the whole story of the weekend of quarter-finals in the Scottish Cup tonight at 10:25. Today's two games, yesterday's goals, SPL highlights as well. We've just seen a cracking cup tie then at Rugby Park, and it is Hibs who join Celtic and Falkirk and Dundee United in Monday's semi-final draw.